one ever stayed in the farmhouse past winter. It wasn't just the isolation or the drafty old windows that let the cold creep in at night. It was something deeper, something in the walls and beneath the floorboards. Locals whispered that the land remembered what had happened there, that the cold wasn't just weather, but memory. Clara, of course, didn't believe in any of that. She didn't come for ghost stories. She came to be alone. After the accident, she couldn't breathe in the city anymore. The weight of memory, the pitying glances, the empty chair at dinner, it all became too much. The farmhouse promised silence, solitude, a place to think or maybe to forget. The ad she found online was strange, almost too vague. Rustic home. Quiet. Ideal for writers and thinkers. Must be okay with extreme cold. But the price was low, and Clara had nothing tying her down anymore. She arrived in early November. The sky hung heavy with gray clouds, the trees stripped bare by wind, and the land smelled of damp soil and distant wood smoke. The house sat at the edge of Black Hollow, flanked by skeletal trees and frost-covered grass. It looked tired. The shutters drooped. The roof was missing shingles. The steps groaned beneath her feet. Yet Clara felt a pull, like the place had been waiting for her. Harris, the landlord, was waiting outside when she arrived. He was a tall, gaunt man with skin like parchment and eyes that didn't blink enough. "You sure you want to stay here alone?" he asked, holding out a set of brass keys. "I'll be fine," Clara said, smiling faintly. Harris didn't return the smile. He pointed at the bedroom window on the second floor. "That room gets the coldest. Keep the door shut at night." She nodded, not thinking much of it. Inside, the house was as silent as a grave. Dust danced in the beams of pale light that crept through the curtains. The air was stale, filled with the scent of old wood, ash, and something faintly metallic. Clara set up her things quickly. An old space heater, her laptop, a box of journals, and a framed photo of her younger brother Liam, the only thing she brought from her old life. That first night was bitter. The temperature dipped well below freezing, and no matter how many blankets Clara wrapped around herself, her teeth still chattered. She chalked it up to the age of the house and told herself she'd buy a better heater in town the next day. But she didn't sleep much. The wind outside shrieked like something alive, and the boards in the hallway creaked for hours, as if someone were pacing back and forth. Around 1:17 a.m., Clara woke suddenly. The fire in the hearth had gone out. Her room was covered in a thin sheen of frost. The window was closed but glazed over with ice on the inside. And there, on the glass, was a handprint, small, childlike, pressed against the pane as if someone had been staring in at her from the outside. Her breath caught. She approached the window slowly, pulse quickening. She placed her palm over the print. It didn't match. The fingers were shorter, narrower. She wiped it away with her sleeve and turned back to bed. But as she walked away, she heard a sound. Behind her, 3 soft taps on the glass. She spun. Nothing. The next few nights followed the same pattern. Frost. The handprint. Whispers just at the edge of hearing. At first she thought she was losing her mind. Sleep deprivation. Stress. Grief. But then she began to dream. Dreams where she wandered the house barefoot in the dark, always searching for something. Sometimes she stood in the hallway and stared at the locked attic door. Sometimes she was in the field behind the house, walking into the trees while a cold wind pushed her forward, and always, always she heard the same voice. "Don't leave me." One night, she awoke standing at the top of the staircase, hand gripping the banister, as if she'd sleepwalked. Her toes were frozen, her breath fogging in the hallway. She returned to bed trembling, and for the first time she considered calling Harris and asking about the history of the place. But something inside her resisted. A strange warmth bloomed in her chest when she thought of the voice in her dreams, the sadness in it, the loneliness. That night, she lit candles around the fireplace and waited. She didn't try to sleep. She stayed awake, watching the frost climb the walls, listening to the wind grow still. At 1:14 a.m. she felt it, a sudden drop in temperature, as if the warmth were sucked from the room all at once. Then came the tapping. This time it wasn't at the window, it was from the mirror. 3 slow taps, fingernails against glass. Clara rose, heart pounding, and walked toward it. The mirror's surface had fogged over. She reached out and wiped it clean, and she saw her. A girl, no more than 13. Long, dark hair, pale skin, eyes wide with sorrow, standing not behind Clara, but inside the mirror, staring out. Clara's breath caught in her throat. She turned to look over her shoulder. No one, but when she turned back to the mirror, the girl was still there. And this time, her lips moved. "You came back." The girl's voice echoed in Clara's mind long after the reflection faded. "You came back." The words wrapped around her like a memory she couldn't place, familiar and... She tried to shake it off, but the image of the pale child in the mirror haunted her. Sleep became impossible. Even during the day, the house seemed dimmer, as though the light itself hesitated to enter. The corners of the rooms stayed shadowed. The cold clung to her clothes even when she stood near the fire. It felt alive now, no longer just winter's breath, but something watching. Clara tried to leave once. She packed a small bag, shoved her laptop and the photo of Liam into the front seat of her Jeep, and turned the key. The engine cranked once, twice, and died. She tried again. Nothing. Not even a click. Her phone had no signal, though it had worked perfectly the day before. She stared out at the white horizon stretching beyond the field, and for the first time, she felt genuinely afraid. The silence around her was too complete, too perfect, like the world was holding its breath. She returned inside, frustration mixing with dread. The temperature had dropped even lower. Frost spread across the floorboards, like veins. In the mirror above the fireplace, the reflection was delayed, as if the house was thinking before it mirrored her movements. That night, she didn't wait. At 1 a.m., she stood in front of the mirror, staring into the foggy glass. "Who are you?" she whispered. "What do you want from me?" For a moment, nothing happened. Then the frost on the mirror thickened, and a word began to appear, etched in the glass like invisible fingers were writing from the other side. "Stay." Clara backed away, her breath quickened. "Why?" The room seemed to groan in response, the walls creaking softly as the wind outside picked up. Then came the tapping again. This time, it echoed from the attic above. 3 slow knocks, then silence, then 3 more. Clara grabbed the flashlight and climbed the stairs. The attic door was colder than ice. She wrapped her sleeve around her hand and turned the knob. It opened with a shriek. The attic smelled of dust and something older, something long trapped. The beam of her flashlight cut through the dark, revealing old furniture draped in sheets, broken boxes, and, at the far end, a small child's bed. It was made perfectly. Too perfectly. The sheets didn't have a single wrinkle. On the pillow sat a small porcelain doll with cracked eyes and no smile. Clara approached slowly, her footsteps muffled. On the nightstand was a leather-bound diary. She picked it up, the cover stiff with age, and flipped to the last page. The handwriting was jagged, rushed. "They say I must stay inside, that the fever will pass. But I'm so cold, so cold. I heard them nail the door shut. They won't open it. Mama cries, Papa yells. I'm scared. Please don't forget me. Please." Clara's breath caught. She looked around the attic again and realized there were no windows, no vents. If a child had been locked in here, she would have frozen in the dark. Alone. A sudden gust of wind slammed the attic door shut behind her. Clara screamed and ran to it, but it wouldn't budge. Her fingers went numb as she yanked and pulled. Then she heard the voice again, whispering just behind her. "You promised." She turned, but no one was there. Just the doll. And the cold. The flashlight flickered, then died. Darkness swallowed her. She collapsed against the door, eyes closed, heart thundering. When she opened them again, she was in bed. Not the attic, not the hallway, but her bedroom, under her blanket, fire roaring beside. Her, had it been a dream? She sat up, head pounding, body aching from cold. On the bedside table lay the diary. Not a dream. Something in her had changed. A heaviness settled over her, a sense that her body was no longer fully hers. She stood and walked to the mirror. Her reflection stared back, wide-eyed, pale. But something was wrong. The room behind her in the reflection wasn't the same. It wasn't lit. The fire wasn't burning. And behind her, just over her shoulder, was the girl. Clara turned. No one. Turned back to the mirror. The girl was closer. "I don't want to stay here," Clara whispered. The girl smiled sadly. "But you already did." Clara blinked, and her reflection no longer moved. Her mouth didn't open with her words. Her hands didn't lift when she did. She was frozen from the inside out. She screamed, but no sound came. Her reflection remained still, glassy-eyed, lips trembling. And on the mirror, a new message appeared in the frost. "Now you're the one who waits." Behind her, in the real room, the doll fell from the nightstand and shattered. And outside, the snow kept falling, silent and endless, burying everything.